Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison with Digital Trends Live. I promised you an interesting interview, and that is exactly what we've got for you right now. Coming with us right now is Linda Jojo. She's the Executive Vice President and of Technology and Chief Digital Officer for United Airlines. Linda, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Caleb. Great to be here.
Awesome. So you have a very interesting job during a very interesting time. Obviously, air travel has gone through a lot during the global pandemic. Things are starting to come back, but I imagine it's basically brought a lot of new challenges into the works. Can you first tell me a little bit about your job, what you do at United Airlines, and how that's changed, in recent months?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I have the privilege to lead an awesome team of technologists, digital product executives, team members, and analytics team members that really drive the technology across the airline, from our mobile app and our digital channels that customers use to book and use for day of travel, all the way to scheduling our pilots, our flight attendants, our technicians across the board.
Yeah, that's that's a lot of responsibility as it is. But as I said before, the global pandemic has brought about a lot of new challenges. How has that changed what you're doing right now?
Yeah, we certainly have had to pivot. There's no doubt about it. With the dramatic change in who's flying and why they're flying, we've had to pivot to the kinds of things we're working on, but we haven't changed how we work. And what we're really proud of is how we partner with the rest of the airline, think about how we can drive change. And in this case, it's really all about customer safety. Are they safe? Do they feel safe to fly? What are we doing to make it safe to fly? And communicating it to them. So one of the examples that we've just put out in the last few days is the ability for customers to text us. You can text to Fly UA, or you can go to 35982. I text the word clean, and then you come up with a chat system that will interact with the customer, answer their questions about how to prepare to fly, what clubs are open, what we are doing to keep the airports clean, what we're doing to keep the aircraft clean, and any kind of question that customers may have about that.
So, interesting. So you're basically giving a direct line to your passengers, to folks inside United Airlines, to kind of help them get prepared for what is basically a new version of travel. Can you tell me some of the kinds of information, unique pieces of information that they could get with this chat function, something that would be especially relevant to the way air travel has changed recently?
Well, I think people consume information different ways. And so this chat is able to show things like we just had on that video. What are we doing to clean the planes? The fact that we have electrostatic spray that happens on every flight, the wipe downs that are occurring. You may have questions about how airflow, and we talk about how the air vents point down, that air flows through the cabin. It mixes with 50% outside air, goes through a HEPA filter and comes back. It's a very clean experience. It's almost like hospital grade air. And we're providing that information to customers. It's changing a lot. If you haven't flown since before the pandemic, you'll find that it's a very different experience. We want to make sure that customers are prepared for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I imagine, I personally have not yet traveled via air, but I understand that the in-flight, from the preparation to the actual in-flight experience, has changed quite a bit. But what about before you actually get on the plane? From the moment that you get to the airport and get to your terminal, what kinds of things have changed? I've heard a little bit about touchless kiosks, but what's the experience like before you get on the plane, and how does your technology integrate into that experience?
Well, that's a great example, Caleb. We certainly didn't have touchless kiosks up on the drawing board in February, yet we now have them out in 216 of our airports. And the idea is, now if you're using the app, you don't have to go to a kiosk unless you want to check a bag. But before the pandemic, you had to punch some buttons. And so now we use your boarding pass and the technology you have on the app to actually get that boarding that bag tag without having to go up to an agent or having any interaction like that. When you get through security, the TSA has changed their procedures so that you don't have to interact with either your paper boarding pass or your app. And then the same thing happens when you're at our gate. Now, of course, we're asking that our customers, requiring that our customers wear masks in the airport and on board. We have lots of signage, lots of ways to make sure people understand that. But all of this is trying to make sure that you can get on board with the minimal amount of touching possible.
And this is all part of your Clean Plus program. Is that right?
That's right. One of the things that our chief customer officer did very early was say that while we think we know what we're doing, it would be great to get some expertise involved. So we partnered with the Cleveland Clinic, who understands how germs and viruses are transmitted, and with Clorox, who's just, the brand when it comes to cleaning supplies. And they're actually the ones that are advising us on all the programs and all the things that we're then communicating with through our digital channels.
Obviously, a lot of changes that you've had to make. Can you, as we get ready to say goodbye here, can you tell me a little bit about what it's been like bringing teams together to pull all this together? I mean, obviously, you were on a pretty short timeline, and things had to happen very quickly to get air travel resumed. Can you tell me a little bit about what that experience has been like?
Well, air travel never stopped. That's one of the things we're most proud of is we're an essential service. And so we never stopped flying. We fly a lot less than we did a few months ago, but getting everybody rapidly ready for those that have jobs like me who predominantly are in an office, how do we get them to change and work from home? We're spending a lot of time on Zoom calls and team calls and those kinds of things. But I'll tell you what, as great as that technology is, I can't wait to get back out into the system and start being face to face with both my team members and our customers. There's nothing like face to face.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with you on that. It's amazing how we've all adapted. And as you mentioned, essential service, never stopped flying, always had to do that. Obviously, we're seeing more and more passengers getting on board. I think it's a really key statement toward the efforts that you and others have made to make us feel safe traveling. And for that, I thank you, Linda. Jojo, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thanks, Caleb.